Welcome to the New to Wrestling podcast, where I, your host, Xavier Cruz, a lifelong wrestling fan, will take a lifelong friend through the action, the joys, and the drama of the world of professional wrestling. My co-host, Kelsey Silva, has been bitten by the wrestling bug, and I want to invite you to join us as I take her through the moments that made me a fan. So if you're new to wrestling and would like to get brought up to speed, or a fan who would like to relive some classic matches, promos, and segments through fresh eyes, join us as we embark on a journey through the Attitude Era and beyond. Welcome to the New to Wrestling podcast. Hello, and welcome to another edition of the New to Wrestling podcast. This week, we watched the February 17th, 1997 edition of Monday Night Raw, and the match card is as follows. We had Marc Mero taking on Savio Vega. We had Lief Cassidy taking on Rocky Maivia for the Intercontinental Championship. We had the Headbangers taking on the Hardy Boyz. We had Flash Funk taking on Owen Hart, and in our... one more. Missed one. Hunter Helmsley took on Bart Gunn, and in our main event that was the opener, then it was a middle of the card match, then it was the main event, we had Sycho Sid taking on Bret the Hitman Hart for the WWF Championship.
What just happened?
What just happened?
I'm in such a state of shock. It's unbelievable.
I literally thought that they were just like not going to have the match because it just kept getting messed up. So, as was alluded, Sycho Sid and Bret Hart was supposed to be the opening contest. So, they make their way to the ring, sort like they're about to, we're cool, title match, open the show. We think this is how this is going to go. I have a note that says all of Sid's tension lives in his traps. But that's just
they're trapped in the traps.
That's just a note on how ridiculous his traps look.
They're so crazy, yeah.
Just up to the earlobes, really. But before the match could get started, Stone Cold Steve Austin inserts himself into this whole situation and starts attacking Bret Hart from behind, which just annoys Sid. So Sid starts attacking Stone Cold, and then Stone Cold ends up chop blocking Sid from behind and like injuring him pretty much because he's like on the ground just like yelling damn it over and over again,
screaming.
Just clearly the match isn't happening right now. So they're getting like separated by like refs, and they're just like, what is going on? What has happened? We all know that Stone Cold clearly did not win the WWF Championship the night prior at the pay-per-view Final Four. So he's just big pieced. He's big.
It's giving bitter a little bit, which is Stone Cold's way, so that's fine. But it's literally just like, it was kind of very much like angry boohoo.
Right.
I'm mad.
I'm mad.
I'm upset.
We kind of just like move on after that once they get like separated by like, all of the referees and Pat Patterson.
18 referees and led by their stalwart leader, Pat Patterson.
I'm always clocking Pat. It's my favorite.
So
I love Pat so much that I'm just anytime he's on screen, I'm like, oh, there's Pat. There's Pat.
Hey, Pat. Yeah, we're like that. We were saying the tie thick as your arm.
Oh, absolutely.
The jacket. Love that guy.
And I don't know this for sure, but definitely some caramel candies in his pocket.
Oh my god. Fully some Werthers, or those little strawberry ones.
Oh, I know. Yeah, the ones that for some reason are always scattered in your Halloween bag and you're not sure.
I don't even remember picking them up. Yeah.
Who did it? Who put this in my bag? Because I don't remember this.
I don't remember. I'm happy to see them because honestly love those little things, but don't ever remember choosing them. No. They chose me.
Yeah.
They chose me.
Aww. Yeah, it's like wands in Harry Potter.
Cute.
But yeah, no, definitely he gives Werther's energy.
Definitely Werther's energy. Big Werther's energy.
Which is what, a lack thereof?
Oh my god.
So we kind of just move on to the next match, which is Marc Mero with Sable taking on Savio Vega. We didn't really know it was going to be Savio Vega because we just got that Nation of Domination entrance, so it could have been anybody one of them, with the exception of Farouk, who they made note was all high up in the the little
in the
balcony
rafter. Yeah.
area. Yeah. But while that's going on, we get a Sid promo. It was very short, sweet, to the point. Where he was basically just like, nothing stopping me from getting this title tonight. Like, not no injury, not Stone Cold. You're gonna have to try a little harder than that. And I
Yeah.
was like, it was short, sweet, to
It
the
was good.
point. Everything that is good about a Sid promo, checked.
Done. So
Done.
true. So
Done.
true.
Even got in his little master and ruler line. Cool.
And it was well done, and it wasn't whispery and
No, it
lingery and
wasn't like
long.
forced or like,
Yeah.
no, it worked. I was like, cool.
Impressed, happy, psyched.
Moving on, right?
Yeah.
Like, for once.
Yep.
So we have Marc Mero with Sable, and they did make mention on commentary today that what we had talked about last week is there's something in the air with Sable. She's getting a little more aggressive. She's got a little more Tootski on her. And Jerry even mentioned that, like, he goes, she got a pair of sunglasses and suddenly she's all over the place. She thinks she can just take on the world. And I was like,
Jerry says what we're all thinking, and I can't hate on him for that. Like, sometimes he really feels like he's one of the girls. I'm just gonna say it. Because sometimes he's like, oh, she got sunglasses now and she thinks she's all that. Like, okay,
right. No,
like,
he was like, period purr. I was like, okay.
He was really giving like Regina George energy today for sure. Like, he was sitting at that table, like he was sitting in the lunchroom, and he had so many things to say.
So many things to say.
Threats, just sass, just everything you want. Everything you want.
So the match was like, it was pretty good. Again, they're both very athletic competitors. Savio Vega's a little bit more grounded typically than Marc Mero, but great match. They have like a good chemistry. Marc Mero does this like impressive somersault plancha onto Crush and Vega, who like made their way outside. Which I didn't catch because I was writing something down, but thank God for the replay.
Yeah, and I just want to say, Xavier's like, what happened? I go, Marc Mero did a somersault plancha.
Proud. So proud. Because like that's not like even like your run of the mill like basic move,
like a clothesline,
to just like no. So
I just love the word plancha.
Me too. It means iron in Spanish.
Oh, I love that. I enjoy that very, very much.
Yeah. I got no problem.
Thank you.
So during that match, we get a little update that apparently Ahmed Johnson has been in the hospital since the Thursday Raw Thursday,
Lowell,
that one time. Yeah, that Raw was on a Thursday. And like, so apparently he's been like just injured this whole time, unbeknownst to all of us.
Anybody.
Yeah.
What is the injury? What? No idea. Nothing. No idea. No information. They were like, and thank God Ahmed Johnson's out of the hospital today. And we were like, what? Huh? What do you mean?
News to me.
And the news came right in the nick of time, let me tell you.
Honestly. So
we'll get to it.
Savio at one point tosses Mero outside onto the floor just so that the nation can like have their way. And one of the Stooges comes over and starts like trying to get his licks in. But no, not today. Miss Tood with the glasses. She came by and laid in some kicks in her little Catwoman outfit. I love it. I love it.
I literally put like Sable throwing hands or feet rather.
Right. And literally and then once again, I swear to God, it's like they've been like they're ripping us off, even though it happened 30 years ago. They were like, stand by, like, look at Sable standing by her man. And I was like, have we not? Where is my credit?
I'm just saying, because and I'm just saying, like, also, like, we're just, everyone's reading the temperature of the room. Like, it makes sense because, like, even watching it 30 years later, you're like, that is the direction it just must go, where people are feeling the same things we must be feeling now. Like, they must have been feeling them the same way we're feeling them.
Right.
And that's just crazy to me. Like, literally,
I love that, though.
We're literally
that it's still translating the way that they like want it to translate, which is impressive because a lot of things don't. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of things about wrestling that don't hold up, but like the fact that like the like little character developments we can still pick up on is good.
If you're tasting the subtext, like you can kind of see, and it still hits. Pretty cool.
Yeah. So there's one point in the match, like the match continues, they're both in the ring. Sable starts getting swarmed by the Nation, essentially.
Girl.
I guess they got pretty miffed that she got her kicks in. So they start like just kind of like surrounding her. And literally you were like, what are they gonna do? Mug her? Like,
I
what
know, I
is
was like,
this?
what is this? Like a
So
mugging? Like, it's so weird.
so she gets scared, obviously, and like
Duh.
runs like through the middle of the match. She said, I'd rather be like put in danger by running into one of these two wrestlers going at each other than whatever is about to ensue around me. So
Yeah, they
she
get caught in a street fight.
runs in, all of the Nation then comes in. The disqualification is called
Duh.
because the ref's like, I already know where this is going. We
Just
don't
ring the
even
bell.
I'm not even
Whatever.
gonna wait for somebody to hit somebody.
Just, yeah.
Um, but of course, they're like all getting into it, and Ahmed Johnson comes out in this like just like red tracksuit,
It was
oversized like
it
tracksuit
was like
situation.
a sweatsuit kind of
Yeah,
vibe, like in
I
a brick
loved it
red.
though.
Love. I was
I,
like, I would wear this tomorrow.
I
Like
yeah, I was like, give me those joggers. Like I would be rolling around the house in those. That'd be
the
amazing.
swear the oversized long sleeve. And that's the thing. I'm just saying, like, Ahmed Johnson is in beautiful physical condition, and it doesn't
Hmm.
even matter. He literally fully clothed. You're just like, baggy clothes. You're just like, wow, look at that man.
Look at that
Look at that
man
man.
with a 2x4, even though it is the largest 2x4 I've ever seen.
It's gotta be like a 2 by 24. Like
Right?
for it's not giving that.
Very much a misnomer. That shit is
Y-
huge.
Humongous. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's basically the end of that. Of course, like the
Which
Nation wants nothing to do with the 2x4, so they all like disperse like little like rats.
this haunted
Uh,
2 by 4.
yeah, literally, it's like you turn on the light in a room like a disgusting like bar, and you just see all the rats just like scatter. That's exactly what
Yeah,
it's like.
fully. Yeah, it's like as if
Ahmed
the two
Johnson
by four is
is
a
the light in
flashlight.
this
Yes.
like it is this in this scenario. Um,
But like it's just he is pest control. It's crazy.
uh,
I it's just so interesting to me. Like, I don't know. I always my mind always goes to the fact that like I always think of Ahmed Johnson as like this jilted like intercontinental championship person, championship holder.
right.
And then I think of Marc Mero, who's kind of like a jilted
Mm-hmm.
Intercontinental Championship holder. And like it's not like they're teaming up or like they necessarily have like, some sort of camaraderie. And it's I feel like this energy that Ahmed Johnson gives is mostly just because he hates the Nation so much, which
Oh,
I
for
get.
sure.
But it's like also I kind of love the like the irony of it. How like
Mm-hmm.
that happened. I don't
How in
know. It's
any
just where
other
my mind went.
scenario they would be on opposite sides of the ring because
Yes.
his hate for the Nation is so great.
He was like,
Like,
sure, whatever. I'll come to your defense.
oh yeah,
I'll come
yeah,
to
yeah,
your
yeah.
woman's
You,
defense.
yeah, I'll help you out.
Love to
If
see
it
it.
means I can swing a giant wooden like bar at somebody, sure.
At mine enemies. Hell yeah.
Love that.
Love to
So
see it.
in our next match, we had Lief Cassidy taking on the Intercontinental Champion Rocky Maivia for his title. But before the match kind of gets too far in, we get a promo from Bret Hart, and he's asked about basically like his thoughts on Stone Cold. And essentially, this was just like, honestly, he clearly has an issue with me, so I guess I'm just gonna have to get used to it. And he's like,
Mm.
I'm honest, all I can do is just look in front of me and just be like, take on the next contender, the next contender, and the next contender. And then Jerry made some comments like, oh, you're like overlooking like all these people. He's like, I'm not overlooking anybody, but that's all they are is contenders. So
Mhm.
that was, another little short, sweet, to the punch kind of promo, which
Yeah, it was
I
good.
appreciate if you're gonna have in the middle of a match. I'm not gonna lie.
Yes, yes, short, sweet, to the point, more menacing that way. Leave a little mystery, leave a little for the rest of us.
Yeah, but essentially he's looking out for number one.
Yeah.
And that is that. So before the match even gets started, we hear Sunny's music start playing because apparently we had to get her a paycheck this week. So
Yeah.
she is the special guest timekeeper. She comes out with just I don't even know how to describe what
It's like
that
it
was.
was like a bubblegum pink, but like a little bit hotter in tone. Like
Mhm.
two-piece
It
set.
reminded me, do you know, I don't know if you've ever played Street Fighter. But there's that one, I don't know, girl who has like that like two-piece kind of thing also. And
Yes.
it has the same slits, which is
The
what made me
slits.
think of it.
Yeah, it gives like it's like two slits for the legs.
Mm,
So it almost has like loincloth energy, but it's floor
right.
length.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, this little like busty top, obviously, and she came out in her little white sandals that matched. She had a white feather boa. She really sold it this time. And then Jerry the King with his heinousness was like, I don't know what the seven wonders of the world are. I just know that Sunny has two of them.
Thank you,
So
Jerry. Thank
thanks,
you.
Jerry.
You could have been this woman's father, but sure.
I swear. And also, like, and as far as Jerry things go, like, comparing her to the eight or
The
seven
Seven
wonders of
Wonders
the
of the
world,
World?
I'm
Yeah.
like, I mean, that's not like as heinous as one would think, but still, like,
Oh,
eh.
no, no. There are many levels that Jerry is going to sink. This is.
He is a spectrum of heinous male.
Oh, yeah. The bottom
Yeah.
hasn't even begun to fall out as far as like the. As far as the filth that's going to come out of that perv's mouth. But
Wow. Sky's the limit. Or the gutter. Depends.
listen, he. He's got a direct line to Hades. It's fine. like, he he knows Persephone on her many journeys to
There are
and from.
many iterate. Oh my God, stop. Uh,
So
I can't.
uh
But
so
loved her look. That's it.
right. She does, however, try and get like Rocky's attention. She like throws the like boa around him.
Ew.
He's like,
Somehow
what?
we're rekindling this, like reminding everyone that she might be a manager. We don't know. I'm not sure. Suddenly she's interested in Rocky again. I don't even know. It's very confusing.
Right. And you're just like, okay.
Okay.
Jerry on commentary makes just have to say it.
Yeah.
Because he's talking about Bret Hart and he's talking about Stu and Helen Hart, and
Uh,
he said they produced more tragedies than Shakespeare, and I was crying. Obviously, that is in reference to their 12 children.
which
So poor Helen, Jesus
which I
Christ.
swear,
That's
swear
just
to
12?
God. 12 is at least 10 too many. Like
Right. Like,
like that's
damn.
a lot of children. But like honestly, that was a truly cutting insult that I will be reserving
Oh,
and for utilization in the future because
that's
that
amazing.
is more tragedies than Shakespeare.
Beautiful.
What do you
Beautiful.
say back to that? Nothing.
Nothing. You got no, you can't.
You
Like
can
you
you
can't.
can someone said that to me, immediate tears. Immediate tears. Immediate.
Oh
Because I'd be
my
like, you're
God.
right. You're right.
Yeah. So this match itself like wasn't
Oh,
it
just
didn't
say it.
wow me in
Mm-mm.
any like capacity. Like Lief Cassidy is a like fantastic wrestler, like, but there isn't a whole lot of like star power to Lief Cassidy. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like he's just kind of he's like a workhorse kind of wrestler. Like, you know what I mean? Like he
Yeah.
can get the job done, but like, am I going out of my way to like see Leaf? No.
No. I
And
felt
Rocky
bad.
is just also like very green. Like he's just very new.
Right.
So it just like, I don't know, it just felt kind of like forced and not very like, I don't know. Wasn't a very exciting match. Not a
No,
knock
and
on either one of them, just not didn't really do it for me.
I felt bad because I was watching it and I was like, I don't know why this is like kind of, I don't want to say dull because it seems harsh. Because
No, it
again,
just kind
both
of like
Amazing Wrestler,
it fell a
it was
little
like,
flat. That's all.
yeah. And then you said something and I was like, okay, thank God. Like I thought I was just a bad person. Like, but
No, 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 not at all. It's just
it
like
the
something wasn't
chemistry wasn't
clicking.
there. Yeah, like it just was, and it went on for a very long time. It felt
It
like
did feel like, and
it
that's
felt
like
like
not what you want somebody to feel while you're, you know what I mean? Like you want them to feel like they like you never want it to end, or like,
exactly.
and
Yeah.
but at the end you're just like, okay.
Okay.
But we did get a promo from Hunter Hearst Helmsley. He's asked about Goldust, and he's like, me and Goldust got unfinished business. Well, first he was asked about The Rock, and essentially like he's calling The Rock like lucky. He never would have gotten like a win over me, even though we beat him twice. And
Mhm.
blah blah blah, doing the whole typical like boohoo
Boo-hoo.
me speech. Yeah. And then he's asked about Goldust. He's like, we have unfinished business there, so like if I come across Goldust, like it's on,
It's on
essentially.
site.
And we were like, okay, sick, guess we'll see you later. And so the match kind of like concludes. Rocky does his like shoulder breaker finisher, which I'm still not about,
Yeah,
because
no, same.
I always feel like a shoulder breaker just leads to something else. Like I just feel like it should go into like another move, like a submission or
Because so many other people use it to do something else. Like you just
right,
see everyone else do it, like just in normal wrestling back and forth. So it's like
right,
kind of random that that's a finisher,
right.
to be
I agree.
honest.
No. That's definitely, and that's probably a great reason why he changes it later on.
Yeah,
But after they cut to the commentary table, and there's just ECW rules sign just chilling in the corner,
this is
and
so crazy.
Jerry starts losing his mind. This man goes on a diatribe about ECW and the wrestlers that work there, and how they're just like has-beens or never were's, and like just a bunch of like talentless hacks. Like
Mm,
he was going off on
off,
them.
dude.
Uh and he basically challenges them because they're going to be the next week of Raw is going to take place in New York City, which is not too far from Philadelphia, where ECW is located.
Based.
As we know, this is like essentially our life, and so he basically challenged them that if they're worth anything, to show up on Raw next week. And uh, we were just like, okay, like go
Okay,
off,
threat issued.
right? But he was like
Ranting.
irate,
Ranting.
irate.
And it's so crazy. And this is like, I thought kind of funny. Like, it's this kid holding the ECW rules sign or whatever. And he like grabs it from the kid, and the kid just grabs another one. Like, he just had
Had it
another
on
one,
deck. He
like,
was just like,
ready.
"Oh yeah, no. I thought this might happen."
I suspected as much. I got you. Like,
Right.
that was, and then Jerry was like, oh, and then he like tries to grab that one. He was like, okay, whatever. But it was like a threat. It was nasty. It came for like it was low blows. Like you're just a bunch like has-beens, a gaggle of has-beens is crazy because we do know like a lot. It was like he goes, it's a bunch of has-beens that couldn't make it in the WWF,
Right.
which like is crazy.
Right.
And
And
like
it's like that's where they all like
it's
migrated.
like the
Like,
dumping ground. Yeah.
right. And you're just like, ooh,
Boop, boop.
ooh. So
We'll see.
that's crazy. And what's especially like nuts is like Mankind, like, or Mick Foley, like just like before he got there, he was in ECW. He was in WCW in like the early part of the 90s. He spends about like a year or two in ECW and then gets called to WWF. So it's not like unheard of.
Right.
We also like talked about this like early days of the podcast where um they ECW and WWF are now going to be entering into like a brief kind of like working relationship.
Right.
Basically to bolster the WWF's like roster, they're going to kind of invite these ECW people to the show. And that gives ECW like national television exposure that they wouldn't have normally had.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it kind of gives the WWF like extra people and storyline to like run with on television. So it's kind of a win-win for both. Kind
Yeah,
of seems to
mutually
be.
beneficial.
Yeah. Um, so that's kind of where we're like headed. And we'll give you an update on that because it pops up again later on. So after that little segment or rant or rave, however you want to phrase it, we get a interview with Goldust from Kevin Kelly. And
Kinda.
kinda right. I mean Kevin Kelly was present.
Kevin Kelly was a mic stand.
You're sorry,
And I
Kevin.
love Kevin. He is fearless. I love him so much. He's right there for the action, but he was just he didn't even get through his question before Goldust took that mic.
No, 100%. So, Goldust is in the ring, like with Marlena, and like Kevin starts like asking his question, and Goldust just like gets down on like one knee, like in front of Marlena, and starts just like just
Mm.
being a distraction. And like he immediately like grabs the mic from Kevin Kelly and is basically like starts going off on his rant about Hunter, and
Yep.
is basically just like, you crossed the line with Marlena, you've made
Mm-hmm.
this personal. He's like, all the money in the world can't buy Marlena, and the only way that you would ever get to her is over my dead body. And I was
Hot.
like, Kelsey literally goes, I love this energy. Like,
I
this
love
is
because I love it. If you are gonna be a couple in the WWF, you better ride for each other, seriously.
mm-hmm.
And I don't care, two little freaks just out there,
Don't
ain't
even
nobody's
matter.
business but mine and my baby. I just literally on his knees in front of her, like, over my dead body. Are you
Yeah.
gonna get close to my girl? Like, I love to see
100%.
it. I
And then
love to see it.
Marlena grabs the mic and
Fair.
she goes, another talk about that we've also like been talking about is that like, you know, Goldust's masculinity has been called into question, his manhood. And she goes, let me tell you, from head to toe, he is all man. And like,
Mm,
I was like, oh, he all man. And then Jerry goes, sounds like she knows from experience. And I was like, she
she
does.
does.
She does.
She does. That wasn't the read you thought it was.
Right. No, 100%. Um, and then she goes on to address Hunter and say that Goldust is more of a man than you will ever be. Uh,
Period.
Amazing. So of course Hunter comes down like to ringside, but like doesn't actually like get in the ring, just kind of like stomps around the outside and just like he's like, I'll take her any if I want her, blah, blah, blah,
You're
blah,
like,
blah. And you're like,
ugh.
okay. Um, but
Mm.
so he finally like, wait, where are we?
He does
Oh
get in the
no,
ring, I
he
think.
does eventually.
Yeah,
So
yeah, 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 he does.
he grabs a drink off of the commentary
Yes.
table, tosses it in Goldust's face, and then enters the ring to attack him.
Because he
He
wouldn't just go in there.
no no
He had to find a
no
way to incapacitate Goldust first.
100%. So he gives Goldust the pedigree, essentially knocking him out of this whole situation, and then turns his attention to Marlena, who slaps the taste out of his mouth.
Thank
Uh,
God.
when Chyna, we
Girl,
know is Chyna, she has not been introduced
introduced.
to us yet, comes into the ring, grabs Marlena from behind, and ragdolls the
Girl.
holy hell out of her. She squeezed her so hard, it, I could see the soul leave her body.
Yeah.
It was brutal.
I It was crazy to watch. And again, I know that this was like part of the plan. I know this wasn't like an actual assault, but like it
It
looked
looked like
crazy.
an
Like
actual
shook
assault.
her around because she's tiny. Like Marlena is like 4'2". Like she's so little.
Right.
And then China is huge
Right.
and it's
Ripped
just
out of her
holding her,
gourd. Just
shaking her. Oh my God. It was like, and then just drops her. Just
brutal.
bye, girl. Or
Yeah, and has to
they
get
have to like
taken out
peel him
by like
apart.
event security.
Yes.
Yeah.
And at right now it's being sold as that she's just like an insane fan. Like
Right.
that they have no
Is just like
control over.
jumping the border. First of all, she's following the touring act of the WWF and is just jumping the border. And like what? They don't have like a sign that like be like, "Hey, beware of this one."
I
Like
swear, they don't have like a thing like if she shows her ID, they're like, aren't you? You can't come
right.
in here.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
actually
Especially
call the police.
considering that it was yesterday.
Yes,
Yesterday.
yesterday.
Like she just did this.
Yesterday. Right? Her face is so fresh in your mind, the muscles, the hair, like hello?
Hello?
Anybody?
Right. How
Okay.
many of her are walking around? I'll wait. I'll wait.
She's so run of the mill,
Right.
She's
It's just like, just your everyday average woman.
yep.
Not at all 6 feet tall, fucking 200 pounds of muscle. Not at all.
Just ripped,
Like,
gorgeous, long black hair,
no, yeah,
like
just they're
insane,
everywhere, right?
just walking
Easily
around.
confused. So more on that to come because China is a force. That is
Yeah.
for sure.
And basically just Goldust carries out Marlena's lifeless body. And
Yeah.
Jerry's like, we'll get an update on her when we know. Because
Right.
she's right now a corpse. We have no idea.
Right. Currently
Crazy.
deceased.
Correct.
And so we move on to our next match, which is the Headbangers, which is our second time seeing them, taking on the Hardy Boyz, which is fun because I'm a huge Hardy Boyz fan. Like
Do it.
I have their symbol like tattooed here, and I have for like a very long time. The Hardy Boyz has been like the reason why I love wrestling since I was like, I don't know, 6.
Which I had no
So
idea. By the way, again, Xavier and I have been friends for what, 15 years?
yeah.
And I've known he's had this tattoo. And when I asked him what it was, he's like, it's just like a symbol thing. And I was like, oh, cool, whatever. Live your truth. And then we were watching the Hardy Boyz, goes, yeah, like I have the Hardy Boyz tattoo. And I was like, is that what that is? Why didn't you? And he was like, I would have had to explain the whole thing. It just would have been like too much work. And I was like, so this whole time, I just thought it was just like a fun little woohoo that he had on
No, it's the Hardy
whole
Boyz.
forearm.
Yeah. Love them.
Which I've
Love
never
them.
seen them.
They're
But this is not their debut because they were just like, yeah, it's the Hardy Boyz. So obviously we know them.
So yeah, we will. It's kind of an interesting thing with the Hardy Boyz. So it's Matt and Jeff Hardy. They're actually brothers. They're from like rural North Carolina. But actually when they initially got hired to the WWF, Jeff was 16. He lied to the WWF to get onto the shows in the beginning.
Oh my
So
God. I love that.
yeah, I love it. Like, what is the, like, I think at this point it's like past that, but when they were first brought on, they're essentially being used as like enhancement talent. Like, they're gonna lose. If the Hardy Boys are on TV right now, they're gonna lose. You want to know why? They didn't have an entrance. So like they're gonna lose. So their job is just to make the other team look great, look like $1,000,000, look stronger than they ever should. And they can take a beating, Jeff and Matt,
clearly.
and they're good at it. They're great sellers. So it's just kind of an interesting tidbit that like Jeff was literally like a child when he wanted to be a wrestler so bad that he was just like, I'm just gonna lie.
He looks so young.
Yeah, so by that point he's probably like 18. Like,
that is so insane.
Crazy. Absolutely insane. So this match, we get like a backstage kind of segment from the Nation of Domination, who speaks on what just happened with Ahmed Johnson, and Farouk gives us our best, like, had to walk 50 miles in the snow backwards with my grandma on my back, like, speech. Essentially he's calling Ahmed Johnson like a fraud because he like now lives in like a expensive like home and has cars. And I don't know why you wouldn't just put the two to, like, maybe he got that after he became a rich and famous wrestler, like maybe.
I know.
I don't know, but apparently he was calling him a fraud because he talks about him being like from the streets, and like then Farouk goes, I'll tell you what the streets are like, and he's like, I had to walk 3 miles just to get to the bus, and I'm like, okay. Like,
yeah,
that is so tired. Maybe it's just because at this point we have heard it for 30 years from everybody, but like, I don't know. I wasn't here for any of it. I was just like, okay, this is a like a played out speech. Who are you getting on your side with this one?
And it's interesting just because I don't know why, like that's the
gripe.
Yes, like I guess I don't know, it's like hard to get or hard to understand because like I don't know what that's like, but it's like as far as go ahead, sorry.
No. I was saying, like, I understand Ahmed Johnson's role in this whole feud. I don't get Farouk's. Like, I don't get why he's so like, why he attacked him in the first place, why he's so like on him, like, why do you care where he's from? Like, what is this on from Farouk's side? You know what I mean? Like, what is this to you? Like,
correct.
I get Ahmed Johnson, like, he got like gravely injured, he lost his title, he lost work for an extended period of time. Like, I get where he's coming from. This makes sense in my mind. But like, Farouk is just like, why did you even start this? That's
true, actually. Why did they start? And you want to know what else is kind of interesting is like that, and also like, why did you start the Nation? Because we never even really he's never even really talked about that, like why he started this coalition, like the Nation of Domination. Like, why did he do that? Like, he hasn't even really talked about that. He's just like, yeah, this is what we are now.
Right. And
Like,
he's
that
like
is
the
kind of
leader.
weird. I
Right.
haven't even thought that is such an interesting point because again, like you said, we still don't even know why he attacked Ahmed Johnson in the first place.
Right. And like I can get now like they're in it just because they've been
They're in
in
it.
it. But
Yeah,
like I don't know. It's just weird. Like Ahmed Johnson's motivation makes complete sense. I just don't understand Farouk's motivation in this.
that is a good point.
Like I don't get it. Like I can understand like now you're annoyed because he keeps showing up, but it's like boo boo, you did this. Like I don't
Yeah, like
know.
you poked the bear. Like was it and he
I was like,
poked you
okay,
back with a 2x4.
that's what I'm saying. I was like, okay, so someone puts you on the shelf for 6 months. How you feeling about it, Farouk?
Mm. And also,
Like
why are all these people just like backing him up? Like I there's so much more to this story.
right.
And
And
I
like
just
also I feel like the nation isn't like fully baked, I guess.
right.
Like I don't know. I just get the sense that it's not as cohesive a unit as they want it to be or want
For
to like
sure.
present it to be. Um so I'm just waiting for it to kind of like solidify like
Yeah, I
what
need to know their creed. I need their
like their
mission
direction. That's what I'm
statement.
saying. Like give me like every group, something, like
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's a good
So
point.
yeah,
That's
we'll
a
see
really
what's
good point.
going on with that. But this match was fun. It was the Headbangers just like absolutely destroying the
So
Hardy
good.
Boys. They were just giving it to them left and right and center. And their
Yeah.
finisher is still amazing.
Yeah.
Still
Dude,
absolutely incredible.
Jeff Hardy, I literally put Jeff Hardy got his shit rocked.
Oh, that clothesline.
Cause he almost like didn't make the full flip and he
Mm.
like came down on like his shoulder and his head. It was like ugh,
Ooh, yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
was
And that's
sticky.
just like he's just like he sells so well. Like
Yeah, he
he
was
is just yeah, he really makes it look like you killed him. Like
yeah.
he looks like
Also,
he's in like a car accident a lot of his matches. You'll see.
wow, great ass too. Wow.
Oh, yeah,
My
but you don't
God.
I will say going forward like outside of this like enhancement talent situation, they don't you don't ever really see it ever again. He wears like baggy pants the
Oh
rest
my
of his career.
God, that's so sad.
It's okay though.
First
It's
loss.
okay. There's lots to love about Jeff.
I
You'll
saw, well, at least I saw it once. And you know what? Baggy pants, again, like we said about Ahmed Johnson, not always an indicator. Sometimes it's so great
no no no
you can feel it
no
through
no.
the fabric.
No. You can feel I wonder if that I feel like that's such a like was probably such a big surprise for everybody that like hooked up with Jeff after he
And that, you
like
know what?
you know what I mean?
Good
Like
for
because
him.
he wears just like baggy pants all of the time, while he's like wrestling. So I imagine that was like a fun little surprise, like once you got down to it.
Crack a tooth on it
That-
out the blue. Uns unsuspecting.
Amen.
Wow.
So the Headbangers performed their finisher, which is still insane. It's
And
that like
just
that
stunning,
power
amazing
bomb leg drop combo, and
combo.
it just came out like so much smoother this time.
Mm.
Um, it just like it looked just effortless. It was
It
great.
looked, I was gonna say it was so good, it looked easy. Like
Mm-hmm.
you and I could do that.
Right. Could not. Do you want
No,
to jump
who's
off the
doing,
top rope?
yeah, I was gonna say, who's doing that part? Because I don't know.
I feel like it'd have to be you,
I guess probably.
unless you want to start power bombing people.
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna jump.
uh, so I wonder if that makes you mosh or thrasher.
I would love to
I don't know
know.
who does what.
I still am unsure of which one is which, but I don't mind it because I just love watching them.
I gotcha. We'll see if we can if it's even worth noting.
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean, okay.
so next we are going to get into what was supposed to be the first match, which is Sycho Sid versus Bret Hart. And Sycho Sid makes it all the way to the ring. Bret Hart, however, makes it all the way to what's called gorilla, like the gorilla position. That is actually named after Gorilla
Real
Monsoon.
Monsoon?
Yeah, because that's
Wow.
where like the people who are essentially like the main either the producer of the segment or like the person who's like the show runner, they sit right there, and it's right by the entrance ramp, where the wrestlers come and go.
I
So
see. Which would explain
when the
why Vince
wrestlers
was there.
go, yes. So when the wrestlers go out, they like tell them whatever they need or if anything's changed or whatever. And then when they come back, they like go over whatever they need to go over. So that positions the gorilla position. So like
I love
right there.
that.
So essentially that's where Stone Cold attacks Bret Hart as he's making his way to make his entrance. His music is playing. Like he's like, I'm ready to go.
He was on the way out.
No. Nope. And it was once again just chaos because it's
Chaos.
Bret and Stone Cold, and then a slew of referees, Vince McMahon, and then Sycho Sid. Apparently,
Appears.
I guess they showed it on the TV for the crowd to see. He saw it, comes back, and just starts wailing on Stone Cold. Also, so it's like Vince trying to like back up Sid. All of the referees are like all over Bret. Like it's a mess. This man is relentless with his attacks.
So crazy. I just like you just cannot lock this boy down.
No,
Like what? He was,
no,
and the thing was, he wasn't even in a match tonight. He was
no.
just there to
Once
be a little
again,
chaos demon,
he's everywhere. He is
agent of chaos.
everywhere. So right after that, they cut to Gorilla Monsoon. He's essentially like asked, like, "What are we doing with this match? Like, what
I
is
swear,
happening?
Kevin is like, so
Is this happening or
what's
not?"
going on? Yeah, like,
like,
hello.
and basically, he's like, "We promised you this match. We guarantee that this match will happen tonight. So rest assured, everybody, this match is apparently going to happen."
Because I get it. Like, if I bought tickets and I was told that it was going to be a title match, Sycho Sid versus Bret Hart, and like it just didn't happen, I would be pissed. I
Right.
get it.
But
I get it.
I love this ride that they're taking everybody on.
I would the way if I was in that audience would be having a heart attack
Right.
the whole
Because
time.
like you think like, oh, you get to the show, you're like, oh, it's happening now. How exciting. And you're like, oh, just kidding. And they're like,
The
oh wait,
way
now. Oh, just
the
kidding.
way they edged us this whole time.
So hard.
Like
So
just
hard.
let it just let
Let
me
it fly,
go.
bitch.
I
Let it
swear, like
fly.
please.
I'm out here begging because
It's
this is
torture.
absurd.
Like over and over again.
Ugh.
Whoa.
So once again, we have to move on from that because apparently we flew too close to the sun. And so next we have Flash Funk taking on one half of the tag team champions, Owen Hart, which I loved. I
I love
loved.
Owen Hart.
I know. We do this every time that Owen is on the screen. We
I
are
know we're just like,
obsessed. But Flash Funk was giving Xenon Girl of the 21st Century vibes. This
I hate
whole
it.
thing is just not working for me
And
anymore.
I love him. I think he is amazing. He's so
Right.
talented. I cannot stand what he wears. I know it's terrible, but it was like lime green with the silver lightning bolt and the boots that just like seem like they're more of a hindrance than a help. I don't know. Like
Right.
it's just I said to Xavier like while we're watching it, the costume just feels like it feels restrictive. Like and he's doing all these insane athletic moves and it feels like
It's getting in the way. And
yes,
like the
and I
boots were like falling
falling
down and like
down.
I don't
And
know.
I
It just
love him so much. I just was like, I feel like we need like an upgrade or something. Like, I
right.
don't
It's just
know.
like it's not doing it for me. And also it still takes 400 years for him to get to the ring. So like I think we just need to like first of all pare that entrance down. Give
Whoa,
me
like that.
like if you need to have them, have the girlie show up in the ring.
Period.
If they're gonna do a little choreograph routine, they don't need to choreograph all the way down. Like
Yep.
y'all can just like
Walk in.
walk in and then do your little moment and then let's move on. I
Yes.
I cannot do this anymore. I'm gonna start fast forwarding at this point
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
because it either needs to stop being televised or like they need to do something else because it
Mm.
is a 5-minute choreographed dance of the two like funkettes. I was like, baby, it's like getting Destiny's Child without Beyonce. like it's like what did I do here? Like why am I here? Why are you serving this to me? I don't want it.
I don't yeah, wow, that just like got me to the core. Yeah. And I feel bad because I do love the Funkettes and I do love Michelle and Kelly, but like
Same.
I'm here. You know why I'm here.
You know why I'm
You know why
here.
I'm here. Like, let's not mince words. Like, I just get to the stage. Like, I just
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So it is announced during this match that Marlena was taken to a local hospital because she was coughing up blood, which makes sense
yeah.
considering that like she was the embodiment of shaken baby syndrome. Like it was crazy. Like it was absolute insanity.
Oh, Oh, what a sin, because she is. She's just, like, so cute and
She's
it's so
so
funny because
teeny
I'm
and
like, she's
tiny,
so
and she was just thrown around, like,
which normally we're like, "She's such a badass queen. She's, like, indomitable. She just stands there and now we're like, 'Oh my god, my poor
little
little
BB.
so
Yeah.
tiny and petite,' and, like, I just
No, it's because I like when she's like standing there alone, you're like, oh, she's so cool. She's so, you know what I
fierce,
mean?
yeah.
Right. And then you see her just like absolutely eclipsed by this like monster of a woman, and you're like, oh, she little.
She's so little. I'm like,
Like,
somebody pick her up. Because again, like with Goldust, you're like, that makes sense. He's huge and he's like over my
right.
dead body. But then, yeah,
No.
our poor little baby.
Oh, poor little baby.
So
So
sad.
during this match, it is announced that there's a phone call for Jerry,
Mhm.
and Jerry's like,
Girl.
what? And it's basically he's like, we have a representative from the ECW organization who'd like to speak to you, and he goes, we don't need any representatives here at ECW. He's like, Paul Heyman, Paul E. Dangerously, call me whatever you want, but you can see me next week. And
Period.
I
Peace.
love Paul Heyman. First of all, he's like a mad genius. He's absolutely insane. Um,
He sounds insane. He ruptured his larynx
he is he's
screaming.
so phenomenal on the mic. So phenomenal. He has such a brain for wrestling. Not only did he have his own like organization, granted, ECW had its problems, but both the WCW and the WWF ended up changing what they do to be kind of a more polished version of ECW. So clearly they were doing something right. If you felt the
Mm.
need to, one, both companies poached ECW's talent. They said, we have money, we're going to take them. So they clearly were like, they had the talent, they had like the brain behind it. It was the money that was the issue with ECW.
Wow.
Um, but Paul is just like a legend in wrestling. So like he started out as like a photographer, became a manager, started his own wrestling company.
Wow.
And then after ECW like folded, he ends up back in WWE as like he in like various roles. But at one point, he was like the head, like essentially like the head writer or the head like creative for SmackDown for like years, just for years.
What?
Just was like the HBIC running SmackDown. Um, and
Wow.
yeah, and he like is one of the few people that like has like is not afraid and has like been fired, been rehired. Like he gives it to McMahon. If he does not
Mm.
agree or he really feels strongly about either a specific wrestler or like a specific storyline going a certain way or like whatever it is, he's not afraid to be like, oh no, like that's stupid. We're not. Why would we do that? Like he'll challenge the boss,
Wow.
which we know not super welcome. So they've butt heads. Paul's been fired. Paul's left of his own accord before. Like, but at the end of the day, Paul's still in the WWE right now. Paul's still
No
hanging out with the
way.
WWE. He's the manager of the WWE Champion and has been for the last 3 years. And
Cut it
before that,
out.
he was Brock Lesnar's manager for like years and years and years and years. So it's like he's always found his way to be kind of in the mix. And like he talks about it like now where he's like, oh, like, do you ever miss having that like role like that he used to have, like, or like that like head writer kind of role? And he's like yes and no. He's like, I miss the stress in my life of that job? Not necessarily. Do I miss like having to fight people to get like my way? No. He's like, but there are certain like creative aspects of it that you like obviously like enjoy.
Yeah, of
But he's like,
course.
but with what I do now, I show up to work and then I get to leave and I get to leave it at home. Like,
Love
so
that. Irreplaceable piece.
he's just a legend. Like a legend
That
on the mic. Just so good. There's one pay-per-view I want us to watch. Is not till like 2005, but I might just like do it as like a one-off, whatever.
sure.
It's ECW's like One Night Stand, and essentially they put on a ECW pay-per-view under like WWE produced it, but it was like Paul Heyman ran it. It was only former ECW like superstars facing for like former ECW superstars, like whether they were in the WWE or retired, like people came
Oh
out
my
of
God.
retirement, like they had it was phenomenal. It was
That
like a
sounds
phenomenal
awesome.
night of wrestling, and it was such an emotional like thing for all of the ECW like superstars that were there because
I
like
love that.
it was kind of like for it kind of felt like they're like closure on it. Because
Mm.
the way that everything like went down, it just kind of ended. So
Oh,
like it was kind
I
of their
love
way to like
that.
say goodbye to it. Granted, the WWE did the thing that most big companies try and do, which is like, oh, like that worked. Let's try and squeeze it for all the money that it could possibly
Oh,
make,
no,
and
no, no,
made like
no.
a watered down version of it.
No, no,
Um,
no, 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 no,
which
no.
didn't work. But they tried. So
Oh, I love stuff like that.
we'll get into it. I really want to get into the rise and fall of like ECW and WCW, which we'll get into on After Dark at some point.
Okay. But talking about how he is so good on the mic, this call was
It
crazy.
was the only phone call I've ever enjoyed during this.
Ever cared about,
Right.
ever. It chilled me to the bone, and yet I was sweating. Like I was
Mm-hmm.
like overwhelmed by how good this was. Like
I
the threats, but it was like I think I put like I think he like popped a vocal cord, but it busts a vocal cord yelling at Jerry. And but not for 1 second did it feel overdone, over the top, like too much.
no,
The threats
but
were
no,
vicious.
because it like because of how hot Jerry came at it.
Period.
It was very much like a, oh, you want to talk about my baby? Oh, okay.
Oh, oh,
All right.
I'll meet you right where you're at,
It
like
felt
in terms
very
of
like
level.
he was like it felt very Mama Bird. You know what I mean?
And I
Like
like that.
no,
Do you know?
he's very protective of his
I
thing.
love that. Have you ever seen oh my God, Uptown Girls with Brittany Murphy?
No.
Either way, there's a scene where like so she's like nannying for a little girl and she like pulls up to pick up the girl from school and she's fighting. She's in a fist fight. It's Dakota Johnson.
Mm.
Not Dakota
Fanning?
Johnson. Fanning. Thank you. Dakota wrong Dakota. Dakota Fanning. And Brittany Murphy pulls it and is like, "Why are you fighting?" And she goes, her her au pair said my au pair is a slut. And then it cuts to Brittany Murphy beating the crap out of the au pair. She's like, "Don't fight, that's bad." And then it cuts to her like she goes, "She said what?" And then it just cuts her beating the crap out of the au pair.
It is that
It
energy
is that energy where
wholeheartedly.
it's like, "Don't fight, calm." And then she's like, "What?"
Mm-hmm. Bop.
Bop
Love
bop
it.
bop. So good.
Absolutely love it. So this match is phenomenal because it's Flash Funk and Owen. Like they're just
Yeah.
so good. Like
I love
they're the
Owen.
beginning they had like tons of reversals. They were very much like just flippity floppy all over each other. But at one point it looks like Owen is going to put Flash Funk in the sharpshooter, and Clarence Mason like climbs up on the apron and just starts like trying to call Owen over, and we're like, what's going on there?
Makes
That's
no
weird.
sense. And they were
So
beefing on the way in. Like Owen walked in with both tag team title belts and the Slammy, and they
right.
were chirping the whole way in, him and Clarence Mason, and it just seemed like very like I don't understand. I literally was like, "What's the conflict?" Because I don't get it. Like I'm just not understanding.
Right.
And then when he came up on the apron, and Owen was like, "What are you doing? Like you're
Right.
interrupting me." Like it was just like so bizarre for no reason.
Right. And then Flashpunk does this like stunning top rope dive. And that's when the Bulldog comes out and starts getting into Clarence's face. He's just like, what are you doing? Like he had him in the sharpshooter. Like you're going to cost him the match. And
Yeah.
like we were like, and I'm like, yeah, like what's going on there?
No,
That's
really.
weird.
Inquiring
Um,
minds.
and he starts telling like Clarence Mason to leave. He basically like kicks Clarence Mason like out of the ringside area because he's over him. And then they talk about the conflict of interest that is Clarence Mason just starting the nation essentially while also simultaneously managing this whole separate other tag team, even though he
Managing.
has tag teams who have been in contention for the titles that his other tag team holds. Like I'm so confused.
And this is the first time they mention it. And we were like, they're like,
Finally.
JR's like, this kind of might be a conflict of interest. And we were like, hello, like ding dong, like, yeah,
Like what's going
anybody
on?
there? Like, yes, like what is happening? Like, this is so ridiculous.
Right. So yeah, and so Clarence Mason like just makes his way to the back, I guess, and then we get a mid-match promo from Stone Cold, and he's essentially just like, oh, like they're saying, like I'm this close to going like over the edge, talking about Gorilla Monsoon. He's like, I'm this close to whooping his ass, and like we're like, oh, okay, Stone Cold. Basically he goes on to the diatribe that this company's holding me down, like nobody wants to see me win. There was no reason why we should have even had that match yesterday because I won the Royal Rumble fair and square.
Uh,
And
just a lie, but okay, go ahead.
right, yeah, exactly. So basically he just goes on to be like that's the bottom line because I said so, and then like leaves. And you're like, oh, okay.
Like, I just put Steve Austin
Delusional?
yelling girl. I was like, he was yelling. But wait, can I backtrack 1 second?
Yeah.
Because you brought up Gorilla Monsoon. I'm so curious because remember we were talking about it was like we don't sanction matches without Gorilla Monsoon. And it was like this whole big thing, and then like, but we're like letting ECW, like Jerry, just like run an ECW like challenge at the next like.
Right.
And Gorilla Monsoon
Like,
was literally interviewed by Kevin like right after that, and he said nothing about it, which I understand. He was like talking about other things, but
right.
I was like,
I was like, interesting.
Gorilla doesn't have anything to say about this. Like the rival company like coming over, knock knock, hello, we're gonna have a match. Like nothing
Well, I don't know if it's gonna be a match.
or something. They're gonna come in,
or at
fist
least
fight.
like not this first confrontation. I don't think it's gonna be a match. We'll put it that way.
Word.
So Flash hits this like stunning moonsault. It's
Gorgeous.
thing of beauty. But as he's trying to capitalize on that, he goes and like hits the ropes. Davy Boy grabs the slammy, smacks him upside the head, and that gives Owen the victory. So, and suddenly they're on the same page.
I am so talk about edging. I'm so frustrated by this conflict because literally yesterday, which for us was last week, but yesterday, wasn't it on the pay-per-view where like Bulldog was like, you hit him with the slammy. I wanted to win fair and square. I had him. La la la. Like we don't need to cheat. And then here you are coming ringside, kicking out Clarence Mason, and then hitting Flash Funk with the slammy. That's not even yours.
And then like Owen like looked like confused about it for a second, and then he just started celebrating. So I was like, oh, okay. So like, are they on the same page now? Like, I'm very confused.
And like, are they trying to say like by by kicking Clarence Mason out that like he's the reason they don't get along? Like, was that like I was like, I don't understand what the vibes are here. Like, because obviously Clarence Mason is a problem for them right now because like he's not really great by way of manager standards, but that's not to me like what the root of the conflict is. Like you guys just are beefing. Like I don't know.
You guys just haven't been on the same page for a minute. So like,
and that was literally 24 hours ago. They were screaming at each other.
Right.
And now we're just like, yeah, Bulldog cheats too all of a sudden, even though yesterday he did a diatribe about how he wanted to win fair and square and he had him.
Right.
So make it make sense.
Wish I could. Hopefully they do next week because I'm lost. So in our next match, speaking of lost, Hunter Hearst Helmsley comes out again, and we were like, "Oh, he's back? Is he fighting this time?
Is this an interview? Is this because he just watched Marlena get assaulted to the point of needing to go to the hospital immediately, and he's just like, all right, I guess I gotta go do this match.
Right, 100%. And then so he's taking on Bart Gunn, and the Honky Tonk Man is for some reason on commentary, and they asked him about his like short list of like Intercontinental Champion contender star search thing that he's been doing, and apparently like he had a couple names, but they didn't want anything to do with the Honky Tonk Man, and some people aren't even here anymore, so I have to start all over. And it sounds like to me just like when the teacher comes over and like asks you for your homework, and you know damn well you didn't even open that bitch, and you're just coming up with just every excuse under the sun, like just rattling them off for not doing any of the work. And we get it. I get it. You were tired. You didn't feel like it, or you just don't care about this teacher. But like, shut up. Like,
but just to be honest, be real.
No one believes you.
No, not a soul. And like, it almost feels like because remember we were saying like he wasn't at the last pay or something. He like wasn't even there, somewhere. And we were like, it's like they forgot that he had a whole thing. Like he was doing a star search, and now they forgot, and so now they're like coming back, being like, yeah, well, just not the same batch of people that's been here, so now I got to start over again. And it's like one person is gone, and it's Shawn Michaels because of the knee injury. Everyone else is here.
And like, I'm also just like, the energy that they're giving like the Honky Tonk Man and Sunny right now is just like, just don't. Like, I'd rather you just not
I'd
than
rather
like
just not.
give me this like shell of like entertainment. You know what I
Hear you.
mean?
Do it up
Like,
or don't do it.
I was like, it's like, if Sunny's not gonna manage, then what are we doing with her? Like, I get it, she's like the most searched person on what, but then like if you're just gonna like keep her around for sex appeal, then do that then. Sure.
Then do that.
Then
Have her
do
like come
that then.
out
But
and
like she
like
doesn't need to be
call.
on, she doesn't need to be a timekeeper. Like she doesn't need to sit in the corner of a match that she's not paying attention to for what? For what purpose? For one match, not even like the whole show, so that we could like cut to her or she can build a little story throughout the like the night. Nothing. We're just gonna we're gonna drag her out here in what, for 10 minutes? Weird.
It's so weird.
And then
It's like
like,
they just bring her out because she was the most downloaded woman in AOL. And they're like, well, we have to show her because she's,
right.
famous.
We gotta
It's so
it is weird. And it feels like so sudden.
yeah.
Like,
It literally she dropped off the face of the earth like so fast.
and so yeah, it was just like, and then the Honky Tonk Man, I just like don't care anymore. I'm
I
just
don't
like,
care.
I was like, who is the Honky Tonk Man gonna stand outside of their matches? Like, okay,
Like, great.
what? Like, I don't need him. I'm good.
No.
Um, so Bart really has control of like most of this match. Like, he's pretty much like all over Hunter for the most part. He does do
Mm-hmm.
this weird like pig call thing, like
Unexpected.
yeah, no, he has like Hunter down in like an arm bar or something. He just like, and you're like, don't do that.
Godwins? Are the Godwins here? It went very yeehaw out the blue. I
Right,
was like, oh, I forgot. You were like supposed to be like that guy, like the smoking guns, like
like
the
cowboy,
yeah,
yeah,
totally forgot.
right,
Totally forgot. But then it was great because as many of you probably know at this point, Xavier and I just think Bart is Gorgina.
right,
And
100%. What a slab of beef. Like,
I
I can't. like,
a
like,
prime cut, if you were to
no,
ask me.
100%.
And slab is crazy. But
Listen,
slab.
if in 1996 Jerry is gonna come out here and objectify every woman that has ever existed, then I'm gonna give it right back.
I'm gonna take what's mine. But then some woman, and we were like, this woman is our spirit animal. Wolf whistling for the remainder of the match.
The whole match,
The whole and
just
she was giving it her all from the chest. You could hear it in the whole arena.
listen. That whistle, construction workers everywhere were shook. Everywhere.
They all took notes.
They wish that
They
they
had the
could cat call
embouchure.
like that. They wish.
Oh
That
my
whistle,
God.
I've never heard such a like they started like popping up too. She got like other people to do it. Like they started popping up like little coqui frogs like in Puerto Rico, just like lighting up the night sky. You're like, hello?
They were like, oh, it was so funny because like it's like she put out the call and everyone else was like, oh, you're feeling this too, me too.
I was like, I'm thirsty too. I'm thirsty too.
It's like she is my leader.
Right,
She's so
100%.
important to me. I hope she feels this in
She
her
really,
spirit.
She really like
from the
did something
ether
there. She really connected with my soul.
We were literally like
the whole time we were like, same. We love him. Like,
I felt so seen. So nice.
not us, just
I
like,
wanted to sing "We Are the World." We are the world.
oh my God.
I felt so united.
Oh, amen. Nothing like the love of just one man's ass to unite a whole nation.
Swear ass back.
Whatchamacallit, if it worked for Captain America, it can work for Bart Gunn.
Yo, I know exactly which scene you're referring to about Captain America too.
Oh, for sure. So the match continues and Goldust makes his way down the ring and chases Hunter out of the arena. Just like right into the middle of the ring, chases him out of around all of ringside. He like, Hunter almost knocks over a security guard trying to get out of the arena, like beelines it out of the out of the whole stadium, not even just the area they were in, just like the whole
Arena.
stadium. You know,
Transcended time and space to float out of, like,
100%. Goldust was like, it's one.
it
One.
was it was a real chase, because I know it was like Goldust gonna interfere in it. If I, even knowing Goldust was supposed to chase me and he came after me that fast, the fear in my body would be so surreal. Like I
Absolutely
too would
not.
just jump the fence and run. Like that would be so scary.
A 6'6" gold brick running at you at
Full tilt.
Like, no, absolutely not. That's like an NFL linebacker coming at you. Absolutely not.
No, it was gazelle versus lion. It was like it was so fast.
Hunter was not
So fast.
he really had that like deer in headlight, like
Yeah, no,
like, no.
my soul would have left my body. Like I too would have been shrieking, running for the hills.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No way.
Whoa.
So clearly that's not over. Marlena's in the hospital. Chyna's out here just apparently not in jail. And like Goldust and Triple H apparently decided to like reenact your like Roadrunner Wile E. Coyote cartoon and just went. So
As they do, as
as
they do.
as they do.
Damn.
So we do get an update on our former WWF champions, Shawn Michaels.
Which, JR, before we even give the announcement, JR, this whole match, I swear to God, I was so fed up with him. He was like,
oh yeah,
we have news on Shawn Michaels from the orthopedic surgeon, and it's either it's good news, or no, he goes, and it's bad news or good news, depending on how you look at it. And so Xavier and I were like, so it's just news.
Right? It's just
that's
news.
The news. Like it's good or it's bad, depending on your perspective. We were like, but he said it so many times. He was like, it's bad news or good.
Right. And you're just like,
on your, and we were like,
shut up,
Jerry, just say you have an announcement. Just say you have an update, because that's all it is.
That's all you're telling us, and you're just making it sound like more than it is. And I'm gonna need you to like simmer down, because like you're really, you cannot just say like a very obvious statement and just make it sound like it's something. I'm sorry, but like you
and then more than
it's
once.
either good or bad, like depending on how you look at it. And I was like, JR, that is literally everything to ever exist ever. What do you mean?
Every phrase uttered is that energy.
It's good or bad depending on how you look at it. Yeah. Perspective kind of matters. Like, thanks, JR.
Ooh, thank you so much for the news.
Absolutely. So, but the news is, now that we're done just complaining about the way that it was presented, is that apparently Shawn Michaels will not be requiring surgery at this point. They're going to rehab his knee. So he's going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks, which is a lot less time than it would have been if they had to like open his knee up and perform a surgery. Yeah. So they're basically going to see how he responds to the rehab, and we'll go from there. The doctor did say that like surgery is not off the table. They just want to see how he kind of responds to it, most likely because he's like a young, healthy man. So like, they're gonna see how he kind of responds, and we'll see. I would love to see me some more Shawn. Me too. Real quick.
And I feel like this has got to be like, for him, what a relief like this news is. Right. Like that he was like, they're gonna open me up and they don't even know if they're gonna be able to fix anything. Now they don't even have to do all of that. Like you're just gonna rehab it, and he's at home. Like I feel like that's nice. He's been really like putting in the work to just have a little break. And I know that's not what he wants. Like he wants to wrestle, but I just feel like this is hopefully like the best possible outcome that could have happened. And I loved this doctor. He was like so straight to the point, and he was definitely like Southern, because he said, and hopefully we get Shawn Michaels back to wrestling again.
Oh, 100%.
Wrestling. I love it.
And he's like their like the WWE's like guy. Like he
really?
Yeah. He's like, he does like all of
everybody.
He does everybody. Like anybody that's like a major star that goes through the WWE, like if they get injured or need like some kind of surgery, like he's either like the one performing it or he's like on the team performing it. Like he's very involved as far as the WWE goes.
I would love to know how that kind of thing happens, because there's always like, oh, he's the one guy that, and they like fly him in from wherever.
Well,
and, like,
he also does like a bunch of like sports and things. I feel like he's just a very acclaimed doctor for like sports injuries.
Related word.
So I think that's probably how he got like known.
Good for him.
Yeah, and I'm sure the WWE just like, I'm sure he's not mad that they're like, there is going to be no shortage of people that need his help coming out of this
Yes,
stuff.
like again, mutually beneficial.
Right, exactly. As like terrible as that is, because it
Yeah,
means
horrible,
somebody's
horrible.
injured, but still.
Yeah.
Let's face facts, everybody. Hospitals are businesses. It's
Yeah,
just the facts.
let's come to terms with that. Let's
Welcome,
hold hands.
welcome to 2024.
It's okay.
Hospitals are businesses. Okay.
Okay.
Moving on.
Deep breath. We did it.
We did it, guys. All right. So speaking of we did it, we finally get to the main event, which is Sycho Sid and Bret Hart for the WWF Championship. And we're like, oh, is it actually going to happen? And luckily for us, it did. It actually, the match started.
Alexa, play Climax by Usher. I don't know.
Amen. I love that man.
Me too.
Unrelated note. Sorry, the Super Bowl was yesterday after we're recording this, so Usher's on everybody's mind, or at least everybody that doesn't actually care for football and just cares for Usher.
The concert. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So so Sid is obviously limping from the chaos of earlier in the night. You can kind of see he's like visibly like favoring that leg. Bret is all over it, like blood in the water. He's like, I see it, I got it. He starts attacking that leg for all it is worth. He's like bending it over like ropes. He's slamming it against the ring post. At one point, he puts Sycho Sid in the figure 4, using the ring post essentially in place of where his leg would normally go. And
which is insane.
Absolutely is like tearing Sycho Sid's leg to shred, which is when you have somebody that large, like that's the game plan. You need to get everybody's the same size when they're horizontal. So I'm so sorry.
But that's true. I mean,
no, but it's true. Like he's not 6'9" when he's laying on his back. So that was kind of Bret's like game plan the whole time. And so the match is like progressing. Sid's got the power game, so like he gets his licks in just from the fact that he's ridiculously strong. But Stone Cold Steve Austin comes out, of course, and he gets decked for his troubles by Sycho Sid. And the match continues, and Bret looks like he's finally going to get Sycho Sid in the sharpshooter. He's got him. He turns him over, and the referee is just like in Sid's face, just like, which is where the referee should be.
Of course, things.
To make sure that Sid is not giving up, essentially. So the referee is minding Sid on the ground, and Stone Cold has now come to, grabs a steel chair, smacks Bret Hart in the face with it as the referee is too busy dealing with Sid, and then just walks off. The job has been done for Stone Cold. That allows Sycho Sid to take Bret Hart up into the powerbomb and pins him, making Bret Hart a very transitional champion of only one day.
Less than 24 hours.
And we have a new WWF champion. Your face was just the hurt.
I'm smiling, but it's trauma. Like, it's just a mechanism to like
to cope.
Yes. And it is so funny because not that long ago, we were talking about, I was like, I am so curious as to who the shortest reigning WWF champion is. Like, just if someone like literally loses like the next day. And like,
ta-da.
I don't even know how I am so shocked and upset and like, how did this happen? Which, even though I know how it happened, and like
happened.
I just like I did not see that coming at all. Like the panic, the fear I felt in my body, surreal. Like I can't believe it.
And as much of a blow as this was, Kelsey did get a silver lining.
Thank God. The screen I scrumped.
in that the Undertaker is the #1 contender for the WWF Championship. So he makes his way to the ring. We get the classic Undertaker blackout, shows up at like the ring apron, makes his way in, and him and Sycho Sid have themselves just a stare off. That's how they end the show. Just the
They
two of them.
accidentally like binked noses at one point. I don't know if you
Yeah.
saw that. Like
Oh,
they were
I know.
so close. They actually went like bink, like
Oh
with
my
their noses at
God.
one point. And I was like,
Hilarious.
yeah.
But that is our main event of WrestleMania is the Undertaker and Sycho Sid. So
Which like
we
I
are.
want to see, but I like also want to see Undertaker and Bret Hart fight. Like I
I
just am
know.
so I don't even know how to feel. Like I just the way I'm gonna toss and turn when I try and sleep tonight is crazy.
So we are officially on the road to WrestleMania. In that it is going to be our next pay-per-view is going to be WrestleMania, which is exciting because it's our first WrestleMania of the podcast.
Which I
And
cannot believe. I
I
feel like
know.
we've been here for 100 years, but in the best way, in
Honestly,
the best
no,
way.
but realistically, we are coming up on a year. We started in March, so
Oh my
it's
God.
almost been a full year of the New to Wrestling podcast. Thank you
How
all.
cute is that?
Amen.
Who knew? It feels
So
like 100 years and also no time at all.
no, exactly, and that's how you know it's a good thing.
Hmm.
So that was this week's episode of the New to Wrestling podcast. Catch us this upcoming Saturday for our installment of the New to Wrestling podcast After Dark. This week we are going to be taking on the steroid trials,
You guys.
which was just it was wild. It
It
was
was
absolutely insane.
so insane. I know we were like talking about how this is like the After Dark is gonna be like the shorter, like whatever. There's no
No, we
way.
can't. We talk too much. It is
Yeah,
just
and
we have just resolved that it is just a second episode that we release every week now, and
that's that.
y'all are loving it, which I appreciate thoroughly.
Yeah, oh my God. Yeah,
The
thank God. Because
response
I
has
know
been great. So that's been awesome, and the comments that you guys give, we love the engagement. Absolutely comment. Let us know
yeah.
if we're missing stuff because once again, Kelsey is brand new to wrestling, and I have forgotten a lot of this. So,
Yeah. Let's
um,
engage in discourse.
oh, absolutely. So we appreciate it wherever you find us, whether you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or you're watching us on YouTube. It all helps. So don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, let us know how we're doing, or if you just want to say hello.
Hey, girl.
We love it.
I love you guys love to goss, so because we do.
Same.
So thank God.
Yeah, we eat that up. So for Kelsey, I'm Xavier, and we will catch you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.